Bathi khona-ke lapho kulesikhathi umnumzane uBrigadier Gininda washo khona ukuthi ngemuva ukuthi afike laphayana-ke eFosloras ngaphambi kwesikhumulo seziphrosesa khona-ke eparking yakhona amisa khona-ke imoto athi wacela-ke abozeboka ethizeni bamvumele ethizeni ayabe nenkulumo nawe mathupha leni obabili nje kuphela kepha bona ngaphandle kwabo ngaphandle babe khona phakathi kwenkulumo yakhe futhi nayo bathi futhi akhupha washo khona njalo umnumzane uBrigadier Gininda ukuthi kunakhona-ke yena wakwazisa noma watshela mayelana namalungelo akho ezomthetho njengomuntu osele emshini.
Akaze kusebenzeke kanjalo ngoba ngisho ukuthi uGininda mayisifica lapha kwamasipala.
That never happened that way. It never happened that way. As I said that during the time Mr. Gininda arrived at that municipal space or area.
Kwamasipala la engangishawa khona. Wafike bama ukumshaya.
What do you mean then?
Bama ukumshaya.
Where they were assaulting me, as soon as he arrived, they then stopped assaulting me.
Baba meeting yabo eceleni.
They then had their meeting on the side.
Wabuya kanye nabo.
He then came back together with them.
Wangibuza lo mbuzo ukuthi ngazi ngokufaka Senzo Mayor. Wathi ngokwakhe uyazi ukuthi ngesandla ekufeni kuba Senzo Mayor kanye nabangani bami.
He then asked me as to what is it that I know about the death of Senzo Mayor. Simply because of, according to his knowledge, he knows that I do have a hand in the death of Senzo Mayor, myself, along with my friends.
Mangithi angazilutho lesikhathi khona-ke ngizokhuluma iqiniso isesemncane futhi alesebenza ngabantu abafana.
After I said I don't know anything about the death of Senzo Mayor, that is when he uttered those words that I am still young. Then he has many years working with the people who are like me, and I will definitely tell the truth.
Thank you. Now, Brigadier Gininda further told this court in his testimony that having had that interview with you or having that conversation with you, you then made certain admissions which, according to him, amounted to a confession. And he asked you whether were you prepared to go and say what you just told him to another commissioned police officer, whereupon you said yes.
Well, welcome, good people. Welcome to News for Sure. As we analyzing the case, video clip that we just played now, it's indeed we're back with Senzo Mayor case. We're back with the first witness, which is accused number 1, Muzi Sibiya. Yes, Sibiya. It's quite a coincidence, eh? Because on the other hand, Sibiya is also testifying on the ad hoc committee in Parliament in Cape Town. Now, on the clip, there was a bit of Zulu and the interpretation, but then the center around in today's submissions that why Brigadier Gininda enjoyed protection. All the thing that has happened with this, at least accused number 1 and 2, we see the role that is played by Brigadier Gininda. With the evidence also that is presented in court, it appears as if Brigadier Gininda enjoyed being an untouchable investigating officer where everything he says goes, where whenever he wants to do certain things, he cannot be challenged. Now, I've taken some time to try and figure out who was Brigadier Gininda in his career, who did he work with. Yes, in his testimony on a trial within a trial around 2023 and November, he does actually take us through in his career. But then amongst that, we know that he became very prominent on the case on Ronavon Krecher, where we've noted that the similar style of investigation on the Senzo Mayor case, it is the same as the style that he applied when he was investigating the case of Ronavon Krecher. Now, we need to understand that also there are allegations on the courts that some magistrates are very reluctant to deal with cases that are handled by Brigadier Gininda because he ought to be known that he has his own orthodox ways of finding information. So when I say orthodox, it's not like normal ways of finding information. It comes with all these funny and very interesting ways that sometimes there's a very thin line between his way of collecting information and the lawful collection of information. Now, let's look at Muzi, accused number 1 on the Senzo Mewa case. He comes across as a person who's being arrested for the second time. Now, which then now becomes very strange because the first time he's arrested, we've heard now in his evidence that he's explaining the second time of his arrest where he was taken to the municipality building, which during the state case, we know that there was inspection in loco, where the accused showed that it did not meet with Brigadier Kinina at the police station, but at the municipal building, where he alleges that he was being beaten up there. Now, what is interesting about that, it's because he says, Brigadier Kinina says that because the accused person was then willing to speak, he then he wanted to confess. Now, Brigadier Kininda told the court that he had to find a officer of the court, a peace officer who's neutral, who doesn't know any case about him, and a person that he does not know. So the first time when Brigadier informed us about him finding Colonel Mboto. Colonel Mboto is the colonel that took confession from accused number 1. Now, Kinina told the court before that he didn't know Colonel Mboto before. He has never even met Colonel Mboto before. So, but he just knew that he collected the numbers of the possible people who were police officers. As news for sure, we've actually came across with credible documents and on a channel with I suspect on Real Mastermind, we did show the receipts there where we're saying that Kininda knew Mboto. So look at that video there, you will see there is a similar type of confession where a person that confessed through Kininda was an investigating officer, and then the person who took confession was Colonel Mboto. And it has also emerged that Kininda and Mboto also work together around Cleveland Police Station. So they've dealt with cases of kidnapping. But then over and above that, we then see that there's a lot of suspicious information that has come up against Brigadier Kininda. And we've seen that there's a huge silence on the IPID as well as all other colleagues, law enforcement officials, to actually challenge them. Now, we then realized that Brigadier Kininda had enjoyed a good relationship with Paul O'Sullivan. Paul O'Sullivan is also known as an investigator that has a lot of corrupt files against corrupt police officials. Now, we know that during the investigation of Ronovan Krecher, Paul O'Sullivan became close to Kininda. They even went on and traveled to Czech Republic, where in this Czech Republic, they were trying to get information on Ronovan Krecher. So now we also know that they also came back. Paul O'Sullivan then went on to become very close to a person who was the commander at the time of Brigadier Kininda. It was the time is known as Killer, basically. At that time was Brigadier Killer, because back during the investigation of Krecher, Kininda still had a rank of a captain. Now, this person has Killer enjoyed protection, enjoyed close relationship with O'Sullivan, saying that Krecher wanted to shoot them, basically. So Krecher wanted to unalive them. So that means that this Kininda's boss, which is Killer, actually, and Paul O'Sullivan, they were both being wanted by Renovan Krecher and his people to actually deal with them. So now that's when this relationship of Paul O'Sullivan becoming close with crime intelligence officials, basically. So we now see that the key person in that regard, it is indeed Brigadier Kininda, whom now we've seen that he has not been criticized publicly because people may have been scared of Paul O'Sullivan, that if you touch Kininda or Sibiya, Paul O'Sullivan will come for you. So that's my assessment that we see in terms of how Kininda has been able to get away with these dodgy things, because some of the things that come out on his investigation, they're very strange. And the confession, how this confession comes about, it's very strange. And all of the sudden, people who are seasoned criminals, these are people that are actually will be the ones that will be volunteering to confess. And when we try to follow these confessions also have like a lot of issues where we can say that these confessions have loopholes. It doesn't make sense. So now we saw on day one on the defense case where now Sibiya is being actually is evidence of Sibiya accused number one is being led by Advocate Mnisi. We are now hoping that Sibiya in his narration will also deal with his initial first arrest. The first arrest when Sibiya is also, it happens in March 2019, where at that time he's even taken to Chlorocorp. But there are people that also appears there. It's Warrant Officer Makubo and General Sibiya and General Leshaban. So we're hoping that today Advocate Mnisi will explore the role of General Sibiya and as well as General Shabani when accused number one Sibiya was taken to Chlorocorp, because we need to note that at the time General Sibiya was currently on suspension. He was not a police officer. He was actually working for the city of Johannesburg. But then what is also interesting is that at the time of arrest, Ekurhuleni Metro Police were being used to actually escort Kininda and his team, the National Cold Case, to actually do this arrest. Now, this involvement of these characters of Ekurhuleni Metro, we've since learned now under Kwanazi's expose that Ekurhuleni Metro enjoyed being close to dodgy people. Now, Sibiya's evidence, we're hoping that it will be corroborated by Warrant Officer Makubo, as well as if General Sibiya is also being called. He will also say that he was also called in that case at Chlorocorp to actually question this. It remains questionable why General Sibiya was involved in this case. And it also remains suspicious why Advocate Baloyi as well as Kininda did not take statement from General Sibiya with regarding to Senzomiwa case, because Sibiya also was amongst the first people who were on the crime scene on the 26th of October 2014. So let's wait and see. As News for Sure, we're going to try to monitor and keep on analyzing the Senzomiwa case, because now the chickens are coming to roost. We're going to see now the defense stating their case. We're hoping that they will be cementing the facts, which now will make sure that Rata will have no choice but either to release these people, because I believe that with the state case, these people have no case to answer. I thank you. I'll see you on the next recording.